Good afternoon, this is Colton from Shout Out here in Nostalgic of 2026. And over here, we have...
Nazeeh Tarsha.
Nazeeh Tarsha. I didn't want to pronounce that incorrectly, so I apologize.
You're good.
We're hoping that you're going to give us some tips for some of the younger ones beginning into the voice acting. And we know that there are some challenges along the way. One of the things that we get feedback from is the health routine. We know that health is very important. We know the routine is very, very important, but we know there's a technique with that. And so we're trying to find some feedback of what you've done that might help them.
Yeah. So, in terms of, so for those people looking to get started and whatnot, there's a fantastic free online resource called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It's made by industry legend D. Bradley Baker. So anybody who wants to know how to get started, no credits, no nothing, like literally bare bottom, zero foundation, that is a free resource made by D that, will give you that sort of step-by-step guide and whatnot. The general formula for getting in is, you take classes, find a private coach, kind of shape yourself as an actor, do theater, community theater, anything like that. Kind of, cut your teeth on some acting related things. And then from there, you hopefully get enough of a resume, get an agent, etc. The things that, we don't talk about too much, like you were mentioning on like health, we have mental health, vocal health, and physical health, Physically, you want to make sure that you are, just taking care of yourself because your body is your instrument, and to be able to perform on a consistent basis, you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. The mental health, it is a ridiculously grueling industry. There are even times where I'm sitting in my car at 3 a.m, crying, wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life, and that's given my successes. It does not go away. So it's one of those things where you want to kind of learn that the phrase, it's a marathon, not a sprint, holds a lot of weight in this.
That makes sense.
You can't be playing the comparison game, because it truly will destroy you. Each person has their own path. Each person gets what is meant for them when it's meant for them. So it's kind of, getting those internal mindsets geared in that direction. And then finally for the vocal health, once you are working and you find yourself in situations where you're doing things like screaming or loud things or monster things, there's so many different types of ways that you can blow your voice out. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you will lose. Like, this is your only instrument. This is your instrument. So you want to make sure to not overdo it, not overstress it. If something feels like it's starting to hurt, make sure you don't continue doing that, or at the very least be very mindful and careful of how you proceed. And if you are in sessions, if you get to that point, advocate for yourself. Too many people think that you need to push through something if it's hurting you because you don't want to disappoint clients or whoever it may be, and you don't want to be recast. But at the end of the day, the most professional professionals will tell you, no, I can't do this. We need to stop, pause, continue another day or something, and we still work. So it's, you want to make sure to keep yourself in mind and take care of yourself, advocate for yourself. If people are telling you to do things that are either beyond your capabilities or are starting to infringe on your health.
So I think that's very important with that. And when you're going through those challenges, just kind of one thing left over is, what point do you feel like it's necessary to get an agency, or is it if it's even worth getting an agency?
So an agent is almost required for any of the big things that you want. Now, is an agency a must for a career? Not necessarily. I have plenty of friends who don't have agents that have been able to establish connections, network, and make their way into studios and be considered by directors for certain things. But generally, when you're looking at things on the big screen, when you're looking at things with massive global audiences, those are going to people with agents for the most part, because the agencies are the kind of middleman to the higher tier talent, if you will. So yeah, an agency is a requirement for like your dream stuff, but it's not necessarily a requirement to be a working actor.
Right, so kind of where you're building up to it, to a point where you're like, hey, now I think we need to start going here, so you can proceed even further then.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly, and it's not easy necessarily to get an agent either. You know, you want to establish your resume, you want to get demo reels, you want to make sure you're displaying your abilities and that you are an asset to a roster. So it's not as simple as I want representations. You need to bring something to the table. So that's why it's important to take those classes, coaching, get your experience, resume under the belt and everything, so that you can impress the right agent and get the roles that you hopefully want.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for that and for the insight. We really appreciate your personal and professional opinion on what you've done and what will also help a lot of the beginners as well. So definitely go ahead and feel free to visit us at our Shot Out YouTube channel if you have any questions or concerns, and leave a comment. Thank you.